Check, baby, check. 1, 2. This is an audio check. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You a flask full of jack love at last. I'm at peace with this vast blood. Only took a crash landing down in the trash mud to figure out
this 12-17. I got it together, sort of.
Only when I'm coldly zoning, cozy in my holy home, without my homie ceremonies, owning in my own, rolling through my dome, hoping that I'm only throwing stones to get you going. Maybe you could clone me, break the ache and make me hate the way forsaken snakes take their stake in what I make and break it. Baby, lay it on a plate, maybe shoot it. Famous words today. We got him. Either way, I ain't trying to lie. Not going to say his name, ladies and gentlemen, but the governor of Utah led off the press conference with "We got him." Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show called DYOR Live. It is September 12th, 2025, one day after the celebration and remembrance of a terrible tragedy 24 years ago, and 1 day after, or 2 days after the taking of a quite famous person, an influential person's life in the United States, in an overt act of political assassination, which is just about as terrible as you can get. And they announced his capture. So that's the good news for today, but we dwelled on that yesterday, Pedro. And so today we're going to dwell on the markets, Bitcoin, the Ethereum micros that you were just talking about, which I have not been following, but lots to talk about in crypto at the end of this week. And of course, as usual, Pedro and I will probably veer over into the world of politics and stuff like that. But anyway, that reminds me to introduce him, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. Pedro, what's happening this Friday?
Is this are we going to break through the highs? You know, like we came down, we hit our supply, our area of demand / liquidity. And I thought we were going to sell off for the week, and we did not. So we continued up. And again, like I always say, if the market is moving up, you go long. The market is always right. Even though I may be a bit trepid about moving long with it, if it's moving up, you go long. That's it. That's the rules. The market is always right. So we hit our area last night. I was talking about, blew through it, kind of came back down. Again, I want to highlight the fact that we just don't really have a lot of buyer volume per se, comparative to what we kind of had in the past. But, it doesn't mean that it isn't going to pick up. So it was really interesting to hear people talk about Charlie and how he was a Bitcoiner and how he was all about, freedom of cryptocurrency and the ability that it gives you to work outside the system. So could be potentially people in remembrance of him really buying Bitcoin and pushing it up. So it's really interesting to see what's actually happening here. But ultimately, we're watching BTC hitting that 50-period moving average, and it's reacting to it. We talked about the 50-period on the weekly here as well. Excuse me. And so it's kind of having trouble here. So this is kind of like that period. Is it going to turn around? We're going to wait and see. It's Friday. The whole entire week since Sunday, we've been doing nothing but going up. Market's been going from 110 all the way to 115. So that's about a 5% move there. And we're watching it kind of climb. So it's kind of interesting to watch what is actually happening here. But ultimately, I'm expecting a bit of a sell-off today, kind of come back down to that 8-period moving average. And then as the CME traders are getting out of their position, at least as of for now, right? And until they kick off those perpetuals, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays into Friday's sell-off. But as of right now, we're seeing CME traders going through and kind of jumping out of their position. So we'll find out what happens after that. But it's really interesting to see what is going on. What is going on?
There's something going on. Well, Pedro, this morning, the title of the old show here today, Bitcoin Breakout. Simply because over the past, as you know, we've been talking about it for a while. That we've been trading in that idiot box forever. Where I have not been trading Bitcoin the past 2 weeks very much at all. I have learned that when it's in this little area, I get chopped up in it because I still have a problem of setting my stops in the right place, and I get when you get tight stops in there. You get stopped out a lot, which is fine. You're supposed to get stopped out, but when it's trading in this idiot box, it's going back up. It goes back in your price, and there's I did 3 trades that ultimately all 3 would have paid off. If I just not had a stop order, but you can't not have a stop order. And if I place it too far down, then I get nervous about it. About my trade and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's not to say I wasn't looking at a longer period trade, on the daily chart or the weekly chart, just, very low leverage, 2 or 3x or something like that. But once I saw it trading in this zone, I just said, I'm not good at it. I'm just going to watch and wait for the breakout. And yesterday I saw the breakout. It just started, I'm sitting here having a club soda or something like that.
Yeah.
And I look over at the chart, which has just been flatlined the past couple of days, and all of a sudden it's like, boop! And I was like, and then I was like, all right, well, they're just going to sell that off immediately. Nope. And then I was looking at it, and I was like, boop, 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 boop. And I was like, and I've learned in the past I would have been like, oh, I got a FOMO into that, learned not to. Although if I had FOMO'd into it, it would have been a hugely successful trade. But that's not the point. You have rules for a reason, because most of the time that doesn't work out. And it just kept going up. And I'm looking at the wires. I'm looking at Twitter. I'm looking at everything, and there's nothing on there. There's no news like Trump burped the word Bitcoin, or or some tweet from some government in Pakistan saying we're getting a Bitcoin reserve. There was nothing on the wires except the usual maxi tweets. And it's like, all right, it's then it forms this little flag you got going here, and I'm like, all right, when it forms that flag, it does one of 2 things. It breaks out up, or sometimes that if the volume's in it not in a great place, it just collapses and the people take their trades. But Asia woke up and then said, "Hello, we're here. We're going to FOMO in on the rise." And it went up all the way up to 116. We were trading as low as 110 recently, even hit the high 109s, and then formed that little blow off top there. And I'm like, all right. In my mind, I said, all right, this would be a place to go take a small short, and that would have worked. But realized I thought that would be a good spot. But I was like, let's wait and see where the retracement is going to happen. And you drew some dotted lines here.
Yep.
Yep. It seemed to retrace right to and then stopped.
Yep. Well, what it does typically, right? It'll come back down, and when it retraces into an area here, Now, this was the supply area that I was expecting the market to sell off on. We went through that, and when it, like you said, when it goes through it, then typically it becomes the area that it likes to come back and find support. And so before you have the support really come in and then starts to push it up, that support becomes a consolidation period, which becomes support. And so that's kind of like what we saw. Is we saw it go up here, blow through that area. You saw the seller weight come in right here. And then we came back down to this area and then found support on the 4-hour 8 here, as you can see, right? Found that support there and started just kind of consolidating there and started moving up. So with that said, because I keep burping your guys' ear, forgive me. I'm just sorry. It was really interesting is I don't get it here, but on my other charts that I get the 8-hour period here, we basically just put in a nice little demand wick right off of that 8 on the 8-hour wick here. Why is that so hard? On the 8-hour moving average here, which is the 8 on the 8-hour 8 period moving average. We actually hit it, and then we've just been kind of consolidating here. And it's interesting on this Friday, it's not seeing a lot of volume come in, but we're not seeing a lot of sellers step in. So really interesting to see what's happening here on Bitcoin. Now on the back end here, as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking over the weekend, are we going to see a sell-off or are we going to see a push-up? The fact is that if we close today around this level, if we close on a doji and a green doji, I expect us to come down on Saturday and then go up towards the end of Saturday and potentially Sunday, get back up potentially to that 117 area here, which is, point this out right here, boom, and that's going to be right here. So this is a zone upon a zone right here. Now what I'm looking for is I want to see this thing close today at like with a green doji candle is what I'm looking for. Right, so at the end of the close, when you look at it, boom. If we have a green doji, it's a very bullish sign. Now, granted, we do see that we're not seeing a lot of volume come in, right? But the fact is that if the market is moving up, what do? You go long because the market is always right. And so this is what we're looking for, is we're looking to take advantage of that market pushing up. So I'm potentially gauging if we end in a green doji, I'd expect to see this go higher, even if it's like a red doji, but it's a very, very small body. You know, it's a hard pick, but I would still think it's going to go up. So the next level that I would gauge that we're going to hit is really that 119, 118 area. Hit that, sell off, push back up into the highs here. So we'll find out what happens here. But again, we're also dealing with that weekly 8 here. And so this is still in play. That 8 is still in play until Saturday night, early Sunday. Okay, until the opening of the CME charts here. And so that's why I'm still kind of just saying it's still there. Also, until we close fully, come on. All right, there we go. Until I see this area right here really close for the end of the week, that 50 period moving average is still intact. And so you could have sellers come in and drop it off or drop it down towards the end of the week here, because remember, crypto never sleeps. So this is one of those things that you could trade and push it up, stop everybody else out, and then sell off. So again, this is a twofold situation over the week. If I see it close today, that green, I'm more apt to go long. But I also am cognizant that we are sitting in supply, which means there are sellers sitting here. So I need to be mindful of that, right? As long as we're moving up, I'm great. If I see sellers step in, I'm gonna sit and watch. Right? Boom. See if we're going to continue down because of the area that we're in. So that's in a nutshell. Yep.
Oh, and Pedro, I don't know what's going on with Rumble today. They've been overwhelmed with massive streams of people some guys are getting 200,000 views and stuff like that. And when I created our stream early this morning, it didn't publish our thumbnail with it and the video that goes in the Rumble waiting room until about a minute before the show. And I have a feeling just something was up because we have extremely low viewership, of which 2 of the shares are mine. And at least Kaching's here. Thank you, Kaching.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. Are they having abnormal amount of viewers that are just coming in and watching Rumble?
Yeah, I don't know what the story is. I just know that I filed a tech support ticket with Rumble this morning saying, hey, why is it always our stream that the thumbnails don't get published? And when that happens, we traditionally get few views because people see a black screen where the thumbnail should be.
I see it.
Is it still nothing?
Still nothing.
Yeah. So that's the problem with that. Let me actually see if they responded to me. I'm sure I'll get the thing, even though I sent a support ticket saying, here's a screen capture from computer 1 in one browser, computer 2 in an incognito browser that's different, and computer 3, which is in a different country, and they all have the same problem. I'm sure I'm going to get, well, clear your cache. Like, it's a different computer in a different country. There's no cache issue. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think I paused the Bitcoin time clock there while we were talking about that. I did. So we'll just move right on to the next section here. Pedro and chatting with the audience. Thanks, Kaching, for joining us. Really appreciate it. As always, Crypto Unicorns shouting out to Kaching. And Connect Me One saying, yo peeps, what's happening? Everybody, I'm going to see if the old machine works here. Hey, it does. It works. Didn't have to correct anything today. It's amazing how the picture of Sailor in that Crypto Unicorns profile is exactly the same picture that's in our footer here. It's amazing.
Hey.
Ching says, good day all. As always, for everyone that's watching, even if you're watching this on the replay, since not many people are watching live today, so everyone's watching the Fox News press conferences, remember to hit that like, follow, repost button, all those types of good things. In fact, I don't even think I did that for my own self. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't even hit the like button myself. What kind of asshole am I? Join us. Repost. Do all those great things. It actually does make a difference when Pedro and I get a lot of viewers here. Things go up a lot. The just wonderful amount of ads that we get to read goes up. And we get good ads. We get good ads that meet our demographics. I watch some other channels, and the poor guys are getting erectile dysfunction ads, stair climber ads, and that type of stuff. And I mean, I'll take a product placement from a stair climber, people, if they pay well. Trust me. I'll even demo it. Going up the stairs, but regardless. Anyway, this is for those of you who don't know, Pedro and I are on the Chat with Audience social media talk. The social media is all kerfuffle about the person that got caught. I love the really big accounts, especially the people that were, have been in the news in the past because they're big political figures. I don't mean current elected officials. I mean past morons. Are like, for sure it's the Mossad. For sure it's foreign influence. This person's long gone. You'll never find them. It's, all these crazy conspiracies. And they're like, I spent 15 years in intelligence. I know these things. And then it's a kid from southern Utah who just kind of went off the deep end after a while. unfortunately seems to have found the Discord channels of a bunch of Antifa groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And self-radicalized, or maybe not, partially self, but partially with the help of other people, and decided to do some really stupid things. But that's like, I think the good Charlie Kirk line was, when it gets really hot out there, meaning politically, not temperature-wise, put your phone down. Realize that social media is not real life, nor are the arguments there real life. Put your phone down. Talk to your family. Call people on the phone, and even said to read some scripture and stuff like that. It'll settle your mind. So, but still, you got to poke around social media because you're like, what? I always like to find what are the Russian bots pushing, and they're all pushing it's civil war in the U.S. They're all going to shoot each other. This type of stuff.
I keep seeing that too, and I'm just like, it's crazy.
Yep. Anyway, thanks for everyone that's joining us. Pedro, before the show, you mentioned something that surprised me: the number of contracts out in the Ethereum contract futures market on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Could you explain that to our viewers? What does it mean that Ethereum minis or whatever it was you called them?
Yeah. So you can see here, it's on my screen. So the CME is basically one of the oldest exchanges in the world. I mean, they've been around for literally, maybe 200 plus years. I mean, they are a statue and setting reform for products and product place, and they were the first real organization that made a Bitcoin future. I mean, if you think about it, Bitcoin future has been around since right before the explosion of BTC of the last bull run. So what was that, 2017? Almost 8 years ago, right? Like the BTC the BTC futures contract has been around that long and considered a commodity with them. And so you knew that there was something there really happening. And on the back end, when you look at the amount of volume that goes into or was going into it, right? You can see that it was, it was pretty large, right? They had a lot, but slowly as micros, which is basically 1/10 of the cost to get into a futures contract, and also it's 1/10 of the reward of the trade of it.
Right.
In crypto, we set the X's, how many we want, or the leverage that we want, right? Whereas in the CME has a set leverage. You can't change your leverage. So one contract is basically worth, you need to ante up, let's say $500 and for a full contract. But if you have the micro contract, you don't necessarily need to ante up 500. You can ante up 50. Whereas the full contract, it moves in increments of $10 to $20 every 1 cent as a leverage. Okay. Whereas with the micros, it's 1/10 of that. So it's $1, $2 movements, and you only need to ante up 50. So if you have a big move that day, you can make up to maybe $200-$300 within that day per contract. So I say this because we've been watching the ETH micros just over the last few years just get bigger. I mean, just absolutely starting to grow in size, and we're seeing it just really pick up. And over the last just month here, you can see here, like here we go from September 11th all the way to July 30th, or from July 31st all the way through to the 11th. You can see here that the base of it's been just kind of climbing. And so watching this happen here is just simply means that institutions are really starting to kind of hone in and trade what's actually happening in Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but in Ethereum, which means that there's really becoming some institutional adoption for Ethereum and what it's doing. And they're using the CME contracts to take part in outside of the actual spot coin. So this is kind of a big deal because it means that as you start to, and you can come here, and it's real simple. Just go to cmegroup.com, and all you do, and you go here, cmegroup.com, you can see, and then from there, you just come down here to the actual, the products that they offer. They offer agriculture like corn. When you guys hear me talking about this stuff, I come here and I look at the charts, and you can learn a lot. And I would encourage you guys all to go and become familiar with futures, because they do kind of give you a little hint of a demand. If you think you want to trade something long term, this is good information. Like, just kind of gives you that information right up front. You can read through it, but you can see here, this is the energies. This is crude oil. This is natural gas, or the Henry natural gas futures. Brent. This is gasoline, as you can see right here. And I've got this tickle in my throat. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. When you start to get that tickle, and it's just every time you talk, it's like click, click, okay. Anyways, so you can see here, as well as you can see micro futures here. And so you can click on here, and then you can see what's actually going on in the actual market. It'll tell you micro futures. Here you go, micro Bitcoin. You also have micro. Where are you at? ETH. Micro. That's interesting. Products. There we are. That's the old. Give me the products. So you can see here, kind of goes over everything. So you have your micro futures here, and so these are just these little things you can pay attention to kind of see. And if you start to see an increase in volume in these products, it's really important to kind of pay attention to that. So you can see here, like Sol, like as we look at Sol, you can see that the adoption of Sol, right, it's kind of fading, and we saw a big increase, and then we're kind of seeing it fall off. But again, we're watching back in August, right, August 21st through September 2nd, you can see that we definitely saw an increase of volume coming in on the CME. And so when you come here to Sol, all right, here we go. There you are, Sol. We could see back here in Sol in August, when it was at the lows here, right, we saw the CME already start to put in its long-term futures. And remember, these are 50-to-1 here. So you can or you can get it to 100-to-1 ratio. And you can go in with size, like big size, right? Not like, a couple hundred or a couple thousand. We're talking a couple hundred to a couple $1 million easily, if not $50 to $100 million placements. And you basically can go through, and instead of having to pay, let's say, X amount of money to actually hold the Sol contract, you get it at a discount. And so you can see here that they'd already placed their trades in Sol down at this level here, right between the 19th and the 25th and 26th. So as you saw price coming in down, you could see here, institutions are coming in, and then look, we saw the increase, right? Now that it's going, what are they going to do? They're going to pull back a little. They're not going to keep pushing this up. And what happens? You have FOMO on the actual spot coin. And so where are we looking? That 140-ish area is kind of like where I'm looking potentially to sell off. But really, that 272 to 295 area for Sol is another area that I'm looking for as well. And so you can see, you could have seen what's actually happening on the Sol contract with the CME, with institutions stepping in. And then they're able to, what's the word I'm going to use? They're able to exponentially grow their capital using the CME futures here, especially if you're an institution. And then you can go through and then take loans on your spot coin and receive more money from what you're doing, and then to buy more of the actual futures and collateralize your whatever you're making. And this is what happens in traditional finance a lot of times. What's going on, man? You're laughing. I mean, is this too much?
No, it's just You remind me of an Uber driver that I had a while ago.
Talk to me. What do you mean?
Is there something blinking on your phone screen?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, bro. Take it. I forgot. I honestly forgot today. Go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Normally we take a full commercial break here, but we're running late, so I'm going to do a little, make a little money on Rumble here instead. For those of you on YouTube, X, and Facebook, we'll be right back. There, ladies and germs. Thank you to everybody on YouTube, X, Facebook, and wherever. We're sitting through a commercial break while we did some business here on the Rumble.
On the Rumble.
All right, what do we got next on the old... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. As always, this is DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. The man in the box is Pedro Garcia. Tracking Bitcoin today, Solana, Ethereum Micros, all types of stuff. But I have a feeling in this half hour, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of other cryptos. Like I said yesterday, we didn't talk much crypto at all. So today, it is
crypto.
Had a news stories ready to go here. Why don't you go? Let me get those up, Pedro, and why don't you move on to whatever you're working on next here?
Alrighty. So I think what's interesting is what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin. We're not just seeing a movement here that is just kind of a When I mean movement, I mean like the actual movement of it, right? Like people now see Bitcoin as a way to be out of the system, a way to truly like decentralize your wealth. In case, let's say, I don't know, this thing called the debt picks up and really starts to hurt us, and so they're using it. But on the back end, also there are a few other runner-ups that are actually really taken over. One being Solana, the other one being XRP, which all of us say boo, woo. Excuse me. But again, I picked up a little, didn't pick up a ton here. I was expecting this to come down a little bit further, but we're hitting our area here on XRP. Now, XRP has really grown in market capitalization here quite a bit, and like these areas of whenever we see a bit of a sell-off, I'm looking for areas where they kind of pick some up. So one is going to be, I'm going to start getting a bag of XRP. The other one as well as I'm looking for is Sol. The other one as well as Matic. Matic has been kind of just playing games with my heart over here. And I'm like, what's going on with you? But it was making it pretty clear, though, that it wanted to sell off. So you can see here, see the sell-off coming in. But if BTC really starts to pick up again, I think we could see again another push up to that 31 area here. So we'll see how that goes. I am playing this on the future side, so we'll be having fun there. Also, ADA. ADA has been again another one that's been showing some strength and pushing up. So I'm definitely looking for Cardano to really kind of pick back up. Cardano is a nice little pretty thing that I think
Cardano.
Shout out to our friend and extraordinaire picker of stocks, Mr. Jim Cramer. That's in remiss, or let us not be remiss to say his coin term of Cardano instead of Cardano. But you can see here, like, we're playing games, pushing off of that. So I expected to see it. The fact is that we're starting to see just a steady amount of volume come in at these levels here. Shows me that we should see another leg up into that 118, 117 area there. So it's going to be a fun little ride. All you guys who are in it at 22 cents, y'all happy right now because you at least have a 4x, and you could potentially come into a 5 or 6x up here at these higher levels as well. So we'll see what happens as we start to move forward. But yeah, it's some of the ones that I'm looking for as we start to pick up again on the next leg up for Bitcoin if we continue. Go ahead, my friend. What were you going to say? Oh, you're not there yet? You're not there yet? Okay. So, speaking of some more news here.
Oh, no. You were done with Cardano. I thought you were waiting for me to comment on Cardano, but I was just...
No, yeah, I do want
Jim Cramer.
No, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, they're getting a lot of news lately, and one of the reasons why is that Charles Hodgson changed his tact. He changed about 6 to 8 months ago when they launched their Midnight protocol. That was their big product. It didn't get as much, didn't really get the play they thought it was going to. And so all of a sudden you saw him starting to write op-eds, talk about on his live stream, in bringing other currencies into the Cardano system. Having wrapped, they previously didn't have wrapped versions of other things. And now they was talking about people being able to, I'm not going to get the terminology right, but it's, essentially having a Bitcoin liquidity pool on Cardano of some sort. I guess you would call that wrapped, but they were using something different. They're trying a whole bunch of other things to get usage up, to get the blockchain transactions up, and to diversify the development on Cardano, because it would, the Cardano maxis had Charles spending his money that he has tons of on it, but you didn't have that super wide adoption like Solana has. I mean, Cardano's pretty, it's big, but it hasn't reached that craziness like everyone's developing and launching stuff like on Solana and for that matter even Ethereum. So his outreach to bring in other monies, as they say, seems to be working. It seems to be working, and it's reflected that in at least some price stability after some destruction of price a long time ago. What frame is that? That's a daily chart. Yeah, so you can see over the past, probably where that big, what was the date in which this big green run-up happened here? Oh, you're on mute.
This would have been about the November of 24. So yeah, and they were sitting, I believe, at 30 cents, where they were.
Yeah, that would have been a good time to get in.
Yeah, 32 cents, and then it shot up all the way to 100, or excuse me, not 100, $1.18-ish. Actually, I think got up to $1.32. And we saw the pullback down to 50 cents. I thought we were going to come back and tap that 40 cent area, but we didn't. And then we have been just kind of slowly climbing. I'm expecting to see it, honestly. It came and pulled a liquidity area right here. We saw it kind of come down, boom, hit that, and then it continued up. So I thought this was really interesting that it didn't come lower here. Like, I would have thought that the market makers would have come down to that 66 area here at this point, but they didn't. So like, that's why I'm a little hesitant on really going full like ape into Cardano, because I feel like that lower liquidity area here is potentially an area that we're going to see it kind of pull back to again to pick up liquidity, and then
maybe we give it one more higher high, and one more lower low.
Yeah, something like this. Maybe pull up where it kind of goes up.
Moving averages support it.
Yeah, I mean, something like that is what I could expect to see. And then you're right, because that area, it would take out the lows here, we take out the stops here, we take out the stops here, and then they push back up. And then those stops there are just nothing but liquidity for the market makers, right? So that they can push it back up as this pushes up. So real interesting to see what's happening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Crypto Mike in the house. Crypto Mike says, "What's up, my dudes? How's my crypto hanging? Your beans been hanging well. If you still own the beans, Mike, they're doing well. We'll talk about that in the next half hour of the show. We'll hit some beans after the news. And of course, he throws the green sirens up there.
Let's go.
As always, to the audience watching, our numbers have gone up a little bit there. I appreciate it. I'm sure Pedro does as well. For those of you watching on your big screen TV, might be hard to open an account from your big screen TV, but feel free. I should get a QR code to make this simpler so you can hold your phone up and subscribe.
Oh, we do need to do that. That would be so easy for them.
Let me just put it up, boop, like that on the screen.
Yeah. Say, boom. Just click it. Pull out your phone. Just click it.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, and go ahead and go open up your mobile phone there if you're on your big screen TV. Go to rumble.com and click. First of all, if you have an account, log in and like our project. Go to DYOR Media and hit like, all that type of good stuff. And if you do not have an account, there's a little thing that says sign in, create an account, sign up, whatever it is, register, something like that. You can use your Google account or your Facebook account or your Apple account or whatever to log in and create an account instantly. And then you can like and comment and ask questions of Pedro and I here. And we like the likes and comments and all that because it makes us feel like celebrities. All the likes and reposts and all that type of stuff, it helps show the Rumble and YouTube and whatever platform you're watching on the algorithm that something good is going on here and that you want to share it with other people. And that's what helps us the most. But actually, what helps us the most if you just send us your cash. Just feel free to do a Rumble rant or a YouTube super chat and dump many thousands of dollars on us. That'll help everything greatly. But other than that, just clicking like, we'll take that. So everyone, if you could, and as always, remember to, if you're in a trading group, or not even a serious trading group, just a bunch of degens that hang out and stuff like that, you want to learn more about crypto trading or day trading, or going long, going short, hit the share button, drop the link in whatever group that is, and said, hey, bunch of these two guys on every day, and come ask questions. That's all we can ask you. Anyway, Pedro, we're in the top half of the second hour of the show. Really should be the third, but we're a little behind. That's all right. We'll shave some time off that. There's a couple interesting news stories out that we should have seen coming. Should have seen one of them we should have seen coming. Let me see if I can bring my old screen up here. Tether's coming to America. Hi, yeah. Guess who's going to lead it?
Who?
Mr. Bo Hines, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, snap.
Mr. Bo Hines, there's a new Tether coming to town. Fully legal, set up in the United States. It's called USAT, USAT, United States of America Tether, ladies and gentlemen, with its own CEO, Mr. Bo Hines. Crypto Swamp Creatures, you missed your opportunity to get him on your show when he was a few weeks of nobody. Anyway, Tether's USAT will be helmed by Bo Hines, the former director of the White House Crypto Working Group. Stablecoin giant Tether furthered its push in the United States on Friday, announcing a previously teased U.S.-specific stablecoin designed to comply with new laws. The token project dubbed USAT. I wonder how that'll be pronounced. USAT? I guess if it's USDT, USAT, I can see either. Will be led by Bo Hines, former executive of the White House Digital Assets Working Group. Hines will serve as USAT's CEO from Charlotte, North Carolina, where he and his family are based. Now, that's the ultimate remote work job, isn't it? I'm running Tether US from my living room. Hines left the Trump administration for Tether recently. The token will be issued by the Anchorage Digital and is expected to be launched by the end of this year. USAT will be headquartered in Charlotte. Meet USAT, USAT, Tether with a little thingy on it. A digital dollar for creators, earners, and everyone left behind. Made for America, fast, borderless. Very interesting. Tether CEO Paolo Ardoino. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Previously told Decrypt that the White House, at the White House in July, that the company intended to create a U.S.-specific stablecoin which will cater to different use cases than the USDT, their flagship. Obviously, we can talk about this forever, but really interesting to see because Tether, they're not starting behind, even though it's brand new, they're not starting out behind the curve. They can literally take, 50 billion of their liquidity and convert it from USDT to USAT. They can just say to the exchanges in the US, whatever you guys are running USDT, we're going to convert to USAT. You've got a week to just, here's our free swap. Boop! And then they're done. They have the liquidity. They don't need to raise it. They don't need to do anything. They just have to move it from this column in the balance sheet to another one, and everything is fine. And if they give people a free swap to move from USDT to USAT, then things will be pretty simple. I wonder how this will affect Tron. We should pay attention to that because Tron relies on a heavy USDT minting and redemption and transfer type for a lot of their transactions and volume. Be interesting to watch that. And see how that works out. But I thought that was really interesting. Moving along that quickly after the Genius Act and the other act got passed. And speaking of USDT, I thought this was a relevant news article as well. The DOJ, Department of Justice, seeks to seize 500,000 in Tether from an Iran drone supplier's private unhosted wallet, because regular wallet. Mohammed ran a company that supplied navigation technology used in the Iranian drones. He's Iranian, but he was smuggling. He was outside of Iran buying U.S. technology and then bringing it back to Iran. And he was paid $500,000 by the Iranian military to do that. The tokens were said to be kept in an unhosted cryptocurrency wallet, posing questions on how the seizure could be effected. I think perhaps the person who wrote, or the AI wrote this article, that's confusing seizure with freezing, because Tether can freeze wallets, but I don't think they have. I don't think they have the ability to get the money out of the wallet. Now, I'm sure the U.S. intelligence community can figure out a way to get the money out of the wallet just by sniffing the guy's phone and looking for his seed phrase or his private key. That's the usual way it's done. They just spy on them and steal their shit whenever they go to use it. But I found it very convenient, Pedro, that Tether would announce how they're cooperating with law enforcement. At the same time, they're saying, we're also introducing this new product into the United States, where they've previously said that all new products in the United States, Tether said, we would go ahead and partner with Chainlink and other people to do what's called wallet. They're scoring your wallet. They'll be scoring your wallet for its credibility, essentially issuing you a social score for your wallet. New wallets, bad. Old wallets that have interacted with mixers, bad. All this type of stuff. So there's still some problems with what's going on with these types of things. But I did find it convenient that at the same time, they're saying, hey, we're going to be great people in the U.S. They also announced, hey, we're giving the U.S. the ability to freeze this guy's money.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a shady situation. I don't like that they can because it gives the central system, the monetary central system, that power to be able to again lock people in and out of the system. And I feel like as if that's the entire point behind crypto is that you can't lock people out. So
this is interesting. My screen capture isn't getting my next article. Pedro, the site that appears to let you predict things in the United States is called Myriad.
Really? So
it's myriad.markets, myriad.markets. And when I go to click on things to predict, it brings up a window that my screen capture isn't getting. And so the question is, this one is Ethereum's next hit, moon to $5,000 or dip to 3,500. And it's a 71% moon.
Shocking.
And 29% 3,500. Let's see, Bitcoin's next hit, moon to 125 or dip to 105. And this screen capture seems to be working better. And it's more closely split. It's 58% moon to 125, 42% dip to it. That's myriad.markets. No, they're not paying us for anything. I just stumbled across this and I was like, that's the site I was looking for when Pedro and I were talking about this. What else they got here? Sports. Oh, they got sports. Ryder Cup decided. Oh yeah, I'm all in here.
What's the one that is American? Americans. I mean, there was an American who created it, and he lives in New York. And well, I'm jesting here, but in a sense, an American made it. An American lives in New York, and yet it can't. Because anybody can post a bet, and anybody can go in and bet on whatever, and yet it is still stopped. We are still stopped from using it, but everybody else in the world can. Just throwing that out there. Just putting that out there. I don't understand why Polymarket is still not able, but this other company can.
Oh. Found it interesting. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
here and pay whoever you need to pay.
That's it. It's time for just a quick break for Pedro and I to empty out and fill up. We'll be right back after these messages. So be here.
Yeah, that's crazy loud, huh?
All right, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever's in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. It's the top of the hour break, 13 minutes late for the top of the hour break. Anyway, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. You're watching Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst over there, talking today about Bitcoin, Ethereum. Tether's good news that they're bringing an official stablecoin to the United States, led by none other than Bo Hines, the former White House Director of Digital Assets, or whatever the hell his name was. And so lots of good stuff going on the end of this week here. The week started off with Bitcoin more on a downside. It's finishing on the upside here. Wait, was I right on that, Pedro? Yeah, I was right on that, wasn't I? You're talking. You're on mute. Yeah, it opened the week at 111,000, finishing in the week at 115. Seems to have violated the rule about opening going lower at the beginning of the week and higher at the end of the week without a correction. No, it did. Oh, I don't know. I'll have to let Pedro explain that one. You there, Pedro? You're on mute.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
I'm not.
You were fine, and you just turned it off.
No, I never.
Okay, there you go. Oh, you maybe you're having a connection issue? Oh, you're having a connection issue, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro's having a connection issue right now. Your screen died. There's no screen. Waiting for that to come back. Anyway, as we wait for Pedro's screen to come back, as we all know, the big news of the day was the Utah governor saying, we got him, and it turned out that it wasn't anybody that any of the pundits were talking about, that it was not a... Hold on, I'm trying to help Pedro here, see. I think he just has his internet connection is just really slow right now. Here he comes back.
There we go.
There you are, Pedro.
Hey.
I got you.
Yeah, for whatever reason, my system kind of shut off.
But as Pedro, as I was saying, as we enter the third half hour of this show here, I was just mentioning that, recapping to the audience, that as everybody knows, the Charlie Kirk shooter is in custody, and that's the way law enforcement works now with ring cameras and everything. It's kind of amazing. I was watching Fox News talk about. They said, and here is the thing, and the guy was limping across the street. Not limping. I thought he was limping, but he had the rifle in his pant leg. And the guy announcing the TV, he's like, "That's my aunt's driveway." And he goes, "In fact, that's my car at my aunt's house right now." It was really funny.
Wow.
He was a local southeastern Utah official of some sort. And they were talking about getting the Ring camera stuff that TMZ had actually gotten first. And he's like, "That's literally I grew up on that street. That's my aunt's house. I used to live across the street. In fact, that's my car in her driveway right now. I keep it there when I'm using my official duty car." It was pretty fun. So that's kind of the news. Not going to expand too much on political news today. The social media is heavy with all that and going on. But we will, in the rest of the show here, trying to bring you some more crypto news and crypto chart analysis. But what we'd like to hear is we'd like to hear from you guys. We'd like to hear what you want us to talk about and have some questions, teach you some new things. Always good for us to do that. But more importantly, Crypto Mike, what's up with your beans, huh? Still an owner of the beans? I hope so.
Let's go over BNB.
They're gonna hit 1,000 here, $1,000 here pretty soon, aren't they?
Nice little pullback that it gave here. Came back down to that 846 area. Nice climbing up. Literally, it's the next leg. I expect it to get to. Let's see here. On BNB here, it's going to be.
I can't really hear you at all, Pedro, anymore with your mic down there.
Well, the problem is I have an echo.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Me or just you?
Just me. So,
has it been the whole show or just recently?
Just recently. Once we came back.
Huh.
While you're doing that, I'll hey guys, can you guys hear me well on the show here or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So while you're taking care of that, I'll talk about BNB. BNB actually had a nice back here. Like you saw it come down, up, kind of came down. We're actually, the next leg should get to about 950 area. But I think for just as a target, because it likes to go to whole numbers here, or at least the markets do by themselves. We're gonna draw some supply here along that 1,000 area, and so just kind of get ready for that in case we do see a bit of a pullback again after it hits that 1,000. Put that in here quick. It's nice. It's really nice.
It should be fixed now, Pedro.
All right, let me try. Hello. Yeah, there we go. Nice, excellent.
Yeah, when your screen disappeared and came back, I lost my audio routing.
Oh, no worries. Okay. So you can see here on the BNB here, the pullback here was an okay pullback. But you saw we had a decent amount of volume starting to step in right here, and that was about right around this level here. And so you could see then that they wanted to push this thing continuing to go higher. Now, my question is this artificial or is this an actual real pump with real volume? Are we seeing the blockchain being utilized by other crypto natives? Are we seeing an increase in meme coins there as well? I mean, is it... Well, I'm wondering why we're starting to see it again pump.
It's a good question. Is there some big projects going on BNB that I'm unaware of? Is Binance moving, potentially moving some out of other cryptos into their own to better hold value. Maybe Binance is heavy, overweighted in altcoins that they're having lower volume on trading. So maybe they said, oh, let's sell those and move it into our own token, which we can better control the price of it relative to Bitcoin or relative to the US dollar. Not be so reliant on it. I have to imagine Binance ends up holding, it's probably somewhere you can look up their reserves of, Cardano and of Matic and Solana and things like that. They may have acquired tons of it and said, you know what, we just need to move. Like they could very well own a few $1 billion in Solana and been like, Solana's at a pretty good high here. We made some good money on it. Let's just move it over to BNB, or at least move the profits over to BNB, keep their Solana position, and then have a bunch of extra, basically free cash to buy their own BNB token and make it more valuable. I'm guessing there's all kinds of ways. I mean, if I was a professional market maker or strategery player for an exchange, I'm probably certain I could come up with a good idea every day. How to pump the price of my own bags. If you have the strength and liquidity like Binance does. If you're just a small exchange, you don't have that. But still, the chart looks great here. It looks like it's just going to pop right off there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Now, the other thing I was thinking about is that we've already seen kind of micro movements happening with the company. Why am I forgetting what they're called? We talked about it yesterday a little, and I do not know why I can't remember it now. It was with a major institution. Come on, brain, you can do it. It just frustrates me sometimes how
Bank?
Yeah, it's a bank. It's a.
We talked about
with BNB and the Binance network. Basically, Binance USA being potentially taken over by a major institution. Franklin, yeah, Franklin
Templeton.
There you go, Franklin. I kept saying Templeton was
pulled that one out.
Head. Yeah, you did, bro. Yes. So I think what's interesting is that when it comes down to it, if they're going to get into Bitcoin or start to get into a lot of trading, I'm assuming they've already established a certain position here, and they would want to pick up a lot of BNB. Is what I'm thinking, because the fact is that if they're going to go through and they're going to establish a beachhead within crypto, BNB is a great organization to do it with. And we know that they've got a lot of smart people. They've got a great marketing team that knows how to push out coins, and they understand how crypto works and crypto natives work. So if you're going to see that type of movement happen, I would think that Franklin Templeton would definitely be purchasing BNB, but also more importantly, I'm thinking about Binance USA being established all over again, and and BNB is going to be needed for them. So I wonder if that's actually what's happening versus just an actual company. And that means if it does happen, then I would expect to see some major moves push up and then a pullback, because that's typically how institutions work, right? So I'm kind of looking at this area here, and we've got, let's go ahead and move this here. Move that right, come on. Do this right here. 3, and then so we've got a liquidity area down at this level here. So we could potentially see a pullback, a push up, and then a pullback down to that 791 area here, or a play of that 807. But I think we're first going to hit that 1,000 mark area on BNB first, and then pull back. I would even extend it from that 860 to about 790 area. I know that's a wide area, but the reason why I'm using that is because you see these wicks down at these levels here as well. So this is where it's like you've got a good wick here, you've got some decent wicks here. Us heading up would be a strong, we're talking that's almost a 100-point move from 900 to 1,000, and then to see the pullback, and it looks like they really start establishing their position all the way down at the 760 area. So it would be one of those things that I would really expect if Templeton is really playing. I think this is how their traders would play this. So.
Well, maybe they want to be a treasury company. I've been seeing articles now, the AI algorithms feed, since I did some research into treasury companies, especially Sailor's company and so forth. I get a lot in my feed now. And there's everybody is announcing, like Joe's convenience store is saying we're going to be a treasury for, Matic, picking off brand ones. And they're like, 1 billion market cap goes up by $1 billion after, I don't mean the crypto, I mean the company announces they haven't produced anything yet, haven't delivered any plans or products at all, but they announced that they are now going to be a Bitcoin or an Ethereum treasury, and their market cap went up by $1 billion overnight. News at 11, Jim, and it's really ridiculous because it only seems like Sailor has a real plan. Everyone else is like, we're essentially buying and holding. Like Galaxy Digital. Galaxy Digital was very famous here recently. They bought all this Bitcoin, spent all this money on it, said we were going to have a whole treasury arm, we're going to be a digital lender, all this kind of stuff. And the price of Bitcoin wavered just a little bit. And they're like, boop, we dropped 90,000 Bitcoins. We're done. We're out. See you later. We're done.
Side note, did you just hear, I don't know if the whole entire market is going crazy. Pavel, CEO and owner of Telegram, speaks on Charlie's, I'm sorry, wrong one. My jump. A private start. There it goes. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out because I look at this polymarket funding round to triple valuation, targeting $3 billion. According to sources, Business Insider. So it looks like Polymarket wants to go public. Polymarket is becoming the biggest online gambling platform in the world. Polymarket receiving term sheets up to $10 billion valuation from VCs. The information.
This is how the rich get richer. I mean, I'm not talking about the guy that founded it. The guy that founded it was essentially someone like you and me.
Yeah. He wrote a code. He said this. He was a crypto native. He said, literally.
And then he gets Eric Trump to invest $300 million, or Don Trump Jr., whichever one it was. The Trump, we'll just call it Trump's. And then they get a little help from the U.S. Congress saying, "Oh, we're making a regulatory path for prediction markets, also known as gambling."
Yeah,
and boom, this is going to go public. They're going to turn. He's going to turn $300 million into $1 or $2 billion.
But he's already done. They've actually there's terms. They're writing up terms and sheets for it, and $10 billion valuation already. The CEO is already now in the top 500 billionaires in the world. I love it. I do it only in America, baby. Only in America.
Coming to America.
James Brown.
Pedro, even I blew the cue here, but I'm going to read a Rumble ad right now.
Go ahead, sir. You go ahead. Do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand by while we earn a little monies here. All right, everybody on YouTube, thanks for standing by while we had a commercial here. Welcome back to the show, everyone on Facebook, X, Twitch, and YouTube. We're talking about the prediction market here, and I think Pedro is about to tell us. Oh, no, we've moved on to that, and you're talking about you're on the GN.AI website. What are you covering there, Pedro?
All right, so I'm starting to see this float around in a few of these DGen plays. You know me, I always try to pay attention to whenever you have 2 or 3 of these guys talking, and they're all different groups, but they're all talking about the same one.
Sorry, everyone.
So you can see here, this one's called Patsy. It's basically the shooter was a Patsy easily. Basically, I just had to go look. I was like, what is Patsy again? But it's basically somebody easily manipulated or taken advantage of often serving as a scapegoat or fail guy in a scheme, crime, or prank without realizing it. So this is about the shooter, and they're calling him a patsy, but this is literally this is what it looks like. It's on pumping right now. It's at about 23,000 here. We'll see what happens. But something that I'm paying attention to right now could be a sender. Yep. Your mom just sent it to you.
No, that's all right. I'm going to look it up on the Gecko machine, see if it's Insta.
No, it's
listed.
barely. It's just starting to get.
Oh, it's on Pump Fund.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the link to its charts are here. Nothing. No big data. I mean, I saw the article about how they a bunch of apparently there were tokens out in Charlie Kirk's name long before this happened, and
wow, I wonder if they all
the top wallets on a couple of them pulled in $2 million, according to one of the wallet tracing firms. Because people instantly went FOMO'd and insiders sold. It's like we used to play. I don't mean to say this in a negative way. Right after Charlie Kirk's assassination, but when I worked in New York, we played this thing called the Deadpool, and people would put together a list of celebrities or famous people's names and put in money, and there would be maybe 200 or 300 people on the list, celebrities' names, and 200 or 300 or however many people on the trading floor that they could get it, and it was called the Deadpool, and at the end of the year, whoever one of those celebrities got dead and whoever picked them got the pool. And so, like, starting, I wouldn't be surprised that every celebrity gets a meme coin with somebody holding 90% of the money in 50 different wallets, and then if something bad happens, it just flies up like it did for the Kirk coins, and then of course the insider just sells out and takes all the money and rugs everyone, because they're massive FOMO addiction things, right? I mean, anyway, I would say not cool, ladies and gentlemen, but you'll never get. It's not like you could stop it. Blockchain is you can launch a token if you live like if you're the dude that sits on the South Pole now, like with the pole in your keister there, you can launch a coin from there because you have Starlink. So it's not like you can ban it. It's just nothing you can do. Anyway, chart's mooning. It's at its highs, going higher.
And this is the Charlie Kirk one?
No, I mean that your Patsy one.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to see. Thank you. Kirk, we'll see which one this is. Well, wow, it's 3 mil. This one's market cap. Let's see right here. 19 mil's already being. Yeah, you get this one. Look at this one. Somebody came out with this one and literally launched it from 1.2 mil, and it's sitting at. This is. I thought this would have been launched at a lower market cap here. Yeah, but this one's already pumping. But it started at 1 milli. Is that correct? Nah, it can't be that. Most of these start at like 6,000 price. Yeah, it looks like it did start at 1 mil. Okay. Well, the Patsy one is pumping. So we're looking at right now, it's starting to go up. It's 402 right now, and it started at 3K. So let's pull this up here real quick. What's the market cap on this one? I think, yeah, 3,000 is what it looks like it was at, and it's already up to 27. So you can see here this play. Just
an
looking
initial
good.
10x, no problem.
Yeah, looks good. And then obviously somebody tried to sell off and it was just absorbed. Look at that. I'm just saying, that thing's starting to go. The volume from here, you can see, and they're just trying to push it. I wonder if, let me check out a couple of these other DGen plays, what they're talking about. Boom, let me pop this up here real quick. Patsy's pumping. See what happens here. Boom. That's interesting. All right, so we'll find out what happens here. If we're going to see a pullback, I would expect to see it come back down to the bottoms here. If it does, there's really nothing that's holding it. It just literally just popped over the last two. Anyways, here we go. So let's jump back here real quick to the markets here. And we can move forward. So one of the things I thought was really interesting, and let's check it out, was TON. No, was it TON? No, it was Tron. TRX, excuse me. TRX really kind of, last week, we saw the sell-off come down to our area here. We actually didn't really cover it too. It was actually kind of one day where we just saw it come down. It was last Saturday. We saw it come down, hit our area right here, and then pushed up. I was meaning to talk about it, but just,
I wonder if that's when the word really hit the street about Tether starting USAT.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I remember. It did, because I remember it coming through. And then what happens, you saw the sell-off. And this is what I mean. Like, when good news starts to come out, you see typically kind of a sell-off, right? And so they sell the news. But then you have the crypto natives that come in and go, that's when you start to have just, what do they call them? Chads. When the Chads just step in and go, let's go. They drop 4 or 5 mil, 10 mil of their bags. And, they save a project. And so a lot of times that's kind of what you see. And like I've talked about how, and this part is kind of beautiful and it's horrible at the same time. Okay. It's like a Saving Private Ryan moment where all those guys are dying. You fall in love with them throughout the entire movie, right? And they're saving him. Right, and you're like, no, and the music is gloriously playing. So that's kind of this situation where, the institutions now know that they got instant liquidity because you have whole entire communities that come in and buy a dip, right? And they know this now, and so they'll go through, sell it off, right? So they've made their profit, sell it off, and then they wait for another area here, and then they buy it back along with the Chads who are buying it up. And so it's kind of a beautiful thing, but then at the same time, it's sad, You know, again, I want to add just the fact is that even though it's going up here, you can see here that the volume is dying. Yeah. So, but either way, you still have a good situation where it did have a good sell-off, right? We saw it go from literally 36 cents all the way down to that 29 cents here. So we're talking a 20% drop, and that was a nice little drop. I mean, that's probably the last drop we'll see before it does another, potentially like maybe that's 78 cents. In all reality, it's a good little area of a drop. We'll find out really at the end of this week if we see Saturday and Sunday where we have an equal amount of volume or close to equal amount of volume in the last 2 weeks. I'd expect it to continue higher. I mean, easily. So just on be on the weary side. If you're going to take this long, just look. We're seeing a drop in volume there, so be mindful of that. But again, if the market is moving up, what do? We go long. So
don't buck the trend, ladies and gentlemen. That's always bad planning. Getting little green screen artifacts there. Pedro, did you know that already this month, it's only the 12th of September, we've had 18 unique chatters of the 20 we need. It's the soonest we've reached that threshold. The entire time we've been in the Rumble Creator Program. And the month is we have to have 200 hours of viewers watching, and we're already past halfway. It's the earliest we've ever done it.
Well, we keep having we have real people coming, and we have, we're growing our audience, and people are coming in, so it's cool to sit there and see that, and it's exciting, right? Like, we're building a real community, and that's our whole entire goal, is to build community and to be able to connect with you guys, because to us that's more important than just even the numbers. There's faces and families behind those numbers, and that's what we'd like to connect with. So, right, and that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing that we're building that.
Agreed.
Right? Because behind every number, there's a face and a family.
Or at least a face. Or an avatar. Or Elon Musk robot. Me watch YouTube, Rumble. All right, so we don't have a lot of time left in the show today. Try to end it on time, but Bitcoin is definitely trying to finish Friday here on an up note.
Yeah,
definitely. Strongly on an up note here. It's one to push back up into the 116s here. I really thought at some point during the week it was going to come back closer to its weekly open.
Oh, I didn't
plan the week out. What? Oh, do tell.
All right. Yeah. So, mind you, we look at the monthly chart, right? And so if we look at the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, right? So if you look at the monthly chart, we saw a bit of a sell-off come in from here, right? We saw the sell-off come in. I thought we were going to put in a bigger...
Which chart is this? I can't see it. Monthly.
This is the monthly, right? And so we're in the second part of the month, right? And so they went down the first part of the week, right? If you look at weeks, right? Last week we saw it kind of come down in the first part, and then they sold off because we hit that area here on the weekly 8 right here. But we closed green, which shows, this is why I'm always talking, if we close green the previous week when we should close red, then that's a good sign of most likely we're going to continue up. Then we hit the monthly area right here, which is that monthly 8, or excuse me, the monthly 8 was hit, the weekly 8 was hit, but our monthly It was right below us, and so this is basically acting as a support level. This is why, like, when we look at that's why you always sit there, and that's why you always hear me say, pay attention. Just like the daily has junction points, right? The weekly is going to have junction points. Monday and Tuesday, you'll see it sell off. Wednesday and Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, you typically sell off, come sideways. Wednesday and Thursday, you start to see it catch up. Friday, and then through Friday and Saturday, you see the sell off, right? Well, right now, we're in the first part of the leg for the month, right? And so the last week was the first leg down, or we tried to put a leg down, it couldn't. We started to see buyers step in, and now we're in the second part of so you have most of the time you have 4 weeks in a month. The first week you typically have a sell-off. The first 2 weeks, or the next 2 weeks, you have the extension of the body, and then the fourth week you typically have a selling off of that gain. And so it looks like this, just like I always talk about. It's got to put in the seller wick in and the buyer wick in, right? Well, it put in the seller wick on the first week. Then typically it will want to rally your second and third week, and then on your fourth week you typically have taken profit.
This reminds me to think that when I'm looking at the week-long chart, to say, I thought it would have done that. What I should have said is, dumbass, look at the higher time frame first, and see, or two higher time frames, or three higher time frames, and see where they are in their candles.
You are a beautiful, smart ass. Okay, don't call yourself a dumbass. Even she was agreeing. You're a smart ass, not a dumbass.
Dog's agreeing with it. Ruff, ruff. Right.
Yeah, I hear him. Yeah. I got you, buddy. Kylie, what's her name? Kylie or
Cali, California.
All right. That's kind of where we're at right now. I thought off of this, we were going to see the sell-off and to go deeper into the demand wick, but it didn't. Found support. Started seeing support come in here. I didn't think we were going to hold. I did say we'd probably hit this area here and then see a sell-off because of what happened here. But it's blowing it off and saying, let's move higher. So I'm saying if we could hit that 119 area over the weekend, potentially, if not further, or into next week. So here we go.
Here we go now. That'll be interesting. I haven't, like I said, I didn't spend this week trading, and when I do, I pay way more attention to the market. Like 2 weeks ago, I paid attention to the market like very well for setting up the week. It was good practice, but because of, as they say, non-Bitcoin type work, I had to take my eye off the market. And you know what, Pedro, this is interesting. I actually feel left out because I didn't know what the market was doing. I have that feeling like, when you look at the chart and you're just like, I have no idea what it's doing. Like, where's the trend? I didn't even know what the trend was, because I hadn't spent, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, even though you and I talk about it every day, I wasn't looking at it, analyzing it. And so, when you look at and analyze it, you can go back and remember what happened. Oh yeah, that's with this and did that. And I just look at it rather blankly. And I feel left out. I'm like, I didn't do my job this week in taking a step to doing this trading full time, because I had obviously I had other things to do, which, also put money in the wallet. But I want to be able to always know what the market is doing, so I can feel that trend, I can understand it, and I can reinforce the brain pathways that say, hey, you need to, don't just start looking at the 5-minute chart, open up the week chart and open up the day chart, and and do, like you feed into my head, do the same thing every time, and then and get to know how one thing affects the other. Like, just as a great example, I forgot right here in front of you when I was talking about the weekly chart. It's not doing what I thought it would do. All I had to do was look one or two more time frames out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's actually a good thing to do, right? Look at it.
Crypto Mike says, sorry. Oh, did hear what I anointed Dr. Fire Chicken. He has joined Pedro's status. His new name is Tructodamus. Tructodamus. I must have missed something. Did Chuck predict something well or something? I'm liking this new little comment machine here. The text needs to be a little bigger. I'll see if I can adjust that, but I'm liking it, especially when it gives a little flash there. Poof! Oh yeah, get your attention. All right, you know what? It looks like it wants us to read one more ad here, Pedro, before we call it a day.
Cool.
I'm going to do that before or after what you're working on there. Hello? Hello?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I was going to say, it wants us to read one more ad here, and I was wanting to know if you want me to do it before or after what you're doing there.
Go ahead and read it, and then we can go right into it. We'll finish off the show with
All right, for those of you on YouTube, X, and Twitch, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone on YouTube and all the other platforms. Really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the show here. Had a good week, Pedro. A lot of interesting things to talk about this week for sure, both crypto and world news and political news and all that type of stuff. That, as I say, rather interesting.
I've had so many friends, so many people reach out to me in regards to the Charlie Kirk thing. And I'm not gonna but I just had another person reach out to me and just being just like, something in me is just stirring. I want to stand up. I want to do something. I don't know what to do. And it's interesting is that it's cool to be able to sit there and say, you can go out and become a good voter. Stop being so passive, right? And actually get involved. Go to the colleges, talk to kids, talk with your friends about what you believe, and let them know the reason behind your belief. And it's so interesting to see so many kids in their 23 to 30 years, and they're not kids, but like me and we're in our 40s, I'm in my mid 40s, I'm almost closer to 50 than I am 40, right? And so
that's my life.
I'm gonna say it like that. And I do. And you're more closer to 60, or you're closer to 50?
I'm closer to 60.
We'll leave that alone.
Can't you tell by all this gray hair?
And you look sexy, man. You look sexy, man. What you talking about? But what I'm saying though is that these younger guys, they're coming. They're like, what do I do? And I'm like, do what he did. Go out to the colleges and talk to people about what you believe, and start an open discourse. And let's push this idea of, if we're going to have equality, we got to talk about real equality, but not just a one-sided equality. An open discord of real, I hate to use the word politics, but politics have ideas behind it, and be able to make normal again hearing different views, and don't argue like children. Right, but like actually listen and hear one person's view and the other person's view, and agree to disagree, and be like, okay, cool. Now let's go get a beer. Right. And if you're under 21, don't get a beer. But like my hope is that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, my hope is that. My hope is that.
My hope is that. I got you. And to add to that, I think. I heard an interview earlier today about one of the big dividing things is that radicalizes a lot of these people, not just to the extent which the shooter became radicalized. I mean, just to be just crazy about all these topics, is the influence of mass misinformation on social media. And the commentator was talking about how we project power. United States projects power on land, on sea, and in the air, and they're starting to project power in cyberspace. And he just said, I bet it's not long until we find if a nation state is trying to influence us with misinformation, using bot accounts to incite civil war, incite, not just disagreeing with opinions, but to incite that you see kinetic responses. In which I'm wholly in agree for. It's a nation state, or even if it's a company that's largely funded by a nation state, and their headquarters suddenly explodes. I'm not uncool with that, because there's no difference in messing with our country by sending guys onto the beaches versus antagonizing our population, especially the people that might be weaker in mind to believe stuff like that. To be anti-American, to be anti-social, and to do things that they otherwise would not have done. And I don't just mean I'm going to buy Pepsi instead of Coke, but I'm going to pick up a gun and shoot someone. Or I really do think that they are controlling the world, and there's nothing I can do, so I better go shoot everybody. So I think there's still a lot to do in that area. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a good week. Baby Draco joining us from California at the last minute here at the show, but at least thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Infineon's official mascot. We've got to have the boys from Infineon on here soon to talk about that again. They're good guests and always have a lot to say, and they allow us to post in their TG room these types of things. Yep, Baby Draco, we are playing the outro. Pedro probably can't hear it, but it's at the end of the show, and that's what we do. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, had a good week here. good week on the show as far as generally our numbers and that type of stuff. And it's all because of you people out there watching us. We really appreciate it. Going to be finishing out the week here with Bitcoin pushing up to 116 after starting the week out in the continued idiot box. So we'll watch that all weekend and see where we get to. But anyway, thanks to everyone that participated in the great DYOR experiment here. So have a great weekend. Pedro and I we'll see you on Monday. There may be a chance that you might see us go live, or at least me go live at a boring part in the weekend to get a premium hour or so, but or a Swamp Creatures episode or something. There's a bunch promised to me for that. Anyway, have a great weekend. Pedro, thanks for a great week. And to viewers, thanks to everyone. We'll see you next week.
Have a blessed weekend.
It's weird. The things are not playing.